are and forever will be a family. And so that is how I'm coping. I'm coping with finding a way through to make sure that this somehow makes us stronger and closer.
You know, about love, about, I would say, trust. Trust in the person you love, trust in your intuition.
Hey, baby.
In a move that has left Hollywood completely stunned, two of the greatest and most untouchable icons in modern film have found each other. Brad Pitt and Penelope Cruz are now the couple no one saw coming, and the story of how it happened is far more complex and dramatic than anyone knows. So is this just a fleeting summer romance between two superstars healing from their past? Or are we witnessing the birth of Hollywood's next great dynasty? The answer isn't in the recent headlines. The real truth lies buried in their painful public histories, their secret heartbreaks, and one fateful television commercial that seems to have changed everything. It all began in black and white. The public story, the moment the world first saw the spark, wasn't on a red carpet or in a paparazzi photo. It was in a breathtakingly cinematic commercial for Chanel. The ad was a tribute to the iconic French film A Man and a Woman, and it cast Brad and Penelope as a glamorous flirting couple on a romantic getaway. But what audiences saw was something far more powerful than just a performance. Their chemistry was electric, a palpable connection that felt completely unscripted and real. The way they looked at each other, the effortless laughter, it was the kind of magic that directors spend their entire careers trying to capture. The internet immediately lit up with everyone saying the same thing. They weren't just watching two actors, they were watching two people on the verge of falling in love. It was a rare moment where the line between fantasy and reality seemed to completely blur, and it planted a question in everyone's mind. But behind that perfect on-screen fantasy was a real world full of messy, complicated color, a world that Brad Pitt knew all too well. To understand why this new romance is so significant, you have to understand the wreckage Brad Pitt has been navigating for the last decade. He is, without question, Hollywood royalty. A man whose talent and charisma have defined generations. But for all his success, his personal life has been a public battleground. His first fairy tale marriage to Jennifer Aniston shattered under the brightest spotlight imaginable, creating a media frenzy that lasted for years. Then came Brangelina. His relationship with Angelina Jolie wasn't just a marriage. It was a global brand, an epic saga of movie star glamour and a sprawling family. But the end was even more spectacular than the beginning. It devolved into one of the most brutal and drawn-out public divorces in celebrity history, filled with bitter accusations, excruciating custody battles, and fights over their shared French estate. For years, Brad wasn't just a movie star. He was a man publicly sifting through the ruins of his life. And while his heartbreak played out on every screen in the world, the story of his new partner was unfolding in near total silence. While Brad's life was an open book of chaos, Penelope Cruz has always been a Hollywood enigma. For decades, she has moved through the industry with a level of grace and control that is almost unheard of, fiercely guarding her private life from the cameras. Her marriage to the formidable Javier Bardem wasn't just a relationship, it was a dynasty. They were a creative powerhouse, an Oscar-winning couple who built a sanctuary for their family, far away from the glare of the public eye. Their bond was considered one of the most stable and sacred in all of Hollywood, which is why, earlier this year, a quiet bombshell dropped that almost no one heard. Behind closed doors, and without any public drama, sources began to confirm that the untouchable power couple had privately separated. After more than a decade together, Penelope Cruz was quietly navigating her own heartbreak, completely outside of the public gaze. And so, the stage was set. Two global icons, one healing from a very public war and the other from a silent, private split, were suddenly on their own. They were set on a collision course, and the catalyst would be a single phone call from Paris. That phone call from Chanel brought them together for work. But what happened next was purely personal. The chemistry that was so visible on set didn't just vanish when the cameras stopped rolling, and soon, the whispers began. At first, they were faint, coming from only the most exclusive circles in Europe. Then, the first concrete report surfaced. A discreet late-night dinner in a private corner of a restaurant in Paris, long after the tourists and photographers had gone home. Just as that rumor began to fade, another one ignited. This time, they were reportedly spotted on the sun-drenched Italian coast, spending time at a secluded villa far away from any prying eyes. They were moving like ghosts, carefully guarding what was clearly a budding romance. But the sightings, though rare, were too credible to ignore. The whispers had solidified into a stunning reality. The fantasy from the commercial had officially crossed over into the real world, leaving everyone with one burning question. Was this just a classic rebound for two newly single, heartbroken stars? Or was it something much deeper? It's easy to dismiss this as a classic Hollywood rebound. Two beautiful, heartbroken people finding a temporary distraction. But a closer look, and whispers from those on the inside, suggest this is something far more calculated and sincere. This isn't the chaotic, passion-fueled drama of their youth. This is a connection forged in a completely different stage of life. Both Brad and Penelope are past the point of needing a relationship for publicity or validation. They are established, iconic figures who have nothing left to prove. Unlike the turbulent romances that defined their earlier years, this connection seems to be built on a much quieter and more stable foundation. They share a deep, mature passion for the arts, for architecture, and for the craft of filmmaking itself. Friends say their conversations are less about red carpets and more about sculpture and producing passion projects. This isn't a fiery fling. It appears to be a meeting of two minds, a partnership grounded in a shared understanding of what it's like to have lived an extraordinary life under a microscope. But even the most perfect connection can be complicated by the outside world, and this romance comes with one very large and complex variable that can't be ignored. That variable has a name: Javier Bardem. While Penelope and her ex-husband may have separated, the looming shadow of their shared history is impossible to ignore. Bardem isn't just an ex-partner. He is a formidable, Oscar-winning force of nature, the father of her children, and a man whose creative and personal lives were fused with hers for more than a decade. Their roots run deep, connecting a whole network of friends, collaborators, and industry players in both Hollywood and Spain. This creates an incredibly complex social web for Brad and Penelope to navigate. Insiders suggest that many in their circle are walking on eggshells, caught between loyalty to a decade-long power couple and the excitement of this new romance. And while reports claim Bardem is remaining stoic and channeling his energy into his work, one can only imagine the tension simmering beneath the surface. Navigating the ghosts of their past is their first great test, but as they appear to be moving forward undeterred, the question becomes less about what they're leaving behind and more about what they plan to build together. So what does the future hold for Hollywood's newest and most unexpected power couple? The possibilities are staggering and go far beyond just a personal relationship. We are talking about the potential merger of two colossal empires. The first, most anticipated step will be their public debut. Insiders are already speculating they will make it red carpet official, not at just any event, but at a major global stage like the Venice Film Festival or even the Academy Awards. A calculated power move that would instantly make them the most photographed couple in the world. But the real power lies behind the camera. Brad's production company, Plan B, is one of the most respected in the industry, and Penelope herself is a savvy producer and a fashion icon with immense influence. A collaboration between them, a film they co-produce and co-star in, wouldn't just be a movie. It would be a global cultural event. This isn't just about two people falling in love. This is about the potential formation of a new dynasty that could shape Hollywood projects, champion philanthropic causes, and dominate the cultural conversation for the next decade. They have the potential to become a creative and cultural force unlike any we've seen before. So in the end, this is a story that feels both as grand as a Hollywood epic and as intimate as a quiet conversation. It's about two icons bruised by their own very different, very public histories, who found an unexpected connection in the most manufactured of settings, a fashion commercial. The black and white fantasy they created for the camera has blossomed into a real-world love story, and it's a powerful reminder that second acts are always possible, even for the biggest stars on the planet. This is more than just celebrity gossip. It's a narrative of hope, a story about finding a new, more grounded chapter later in life. The entire world is now watching to see what happens next. Are we witnessing the true beginning of Hollywood's next great love story? Or is this just a beautiful, fleeting romance destined to become another legendary memory? Only time will tell, but for now, we are all captivated by the possibility. That variable has a name: Javier Bardem. While Penelope and her ex-husband may have separated, the looming shadow of their shared history is impossible to ignore. Bardem isn't just an ex-partner. He is a formidable, Oscar-winning force of nature, the father of her children, and a man whose creative and personal lives were fused with hers for more than a decade. Their roots run deep, connecting a whole network of friends, collaborators, and industry players in both Hollywood and Spain. This creates an incredibly complex social web for Brad and Penelope to navigate. Insiders suggest that many in their circle are walking on eggshells, caught between loyalty to a decade-long power couple and the excitement of this new romance. And while reports claim Bardem is remaining stoic and channeling his energy into his work, one can only imagine the tension simmering beneath the surface. Navigating the ghosts of their past is their first great test, but as they appear to be moving forward undeterred, the question becomes less about what they're leaving behind and more about what they plan to build together.